Hello, fellow cinephiles, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Talk Film to Me podcast, where we talk about films in Kenya and beyond. I'm your host, Nkatha. Let's talk film. So today we are going to be reviewing Beneath the Tides. It's an anthology of 5 films. So we have Baba, we have Stero, I think my favorite. We have Ziwa. I liked that too. We have Inheritance, then we have Mawimbi. One thing that is also very interesting about Beneath the Tides is that all the films have children as stars. So let's start with Baba. Oh my god, Baba is quite a heavy film. It's by Mbithi Masya. If you don't know Mbithi Masya, when was it? He produced Katikati. I think I watched Katikati like 3 or 4, 5 years ago. It's about a young boy who looks for an escape in his mind after he's abused. And by abused, I mean sexually. I mean, that's what I got from watching it. He's abused by his cousin. And as we watch the film, we see where the abuse from the cousin is also stemming from. So the mother to the cousin keeps beating, let's just say, also abusing this kid, because clearly Atayal, honestly, why would you beat up a child like that? But again, it's just in the film. So some of the cast that I can remember, of course, Beki Mwalimu and Faith Kibati. Then we have the two boys. So I think it was like a film of 4 people, but there were other like 3 people who I remember, 3 boys who were also in the film. A really heavy story and interesting bit. I have shot this episode before and I shot it with someone, and as I talk about it, I can remember what we were talking about in that as we had the discussion. And Baba really talks about how sometimes you might not know what is happening under your own roof, because as the cousin to Baba was being punished, he was being punished for not taking care of Baba. But every time they would go to bed, he would sexually abuse Baba, and Baba would close his eyes and appear in front of a large water body, and that was his form of escape. But as the film progressed, you can see also where this abuse from the cousin was stemming from, because every decision has, what do I say, everything has an effect. There's always a ripple effect for certain things. And I'm not really justifying whatever happened. From the filmmaker's perspective, I can definitely tell that he tried to also explain how the abuse came about. So, parents, mother your children well, father your children well. Then let's move on to Stero, a fan favorite. I would say fan favorite because I was there at the premiere, and by the end, most people were yapping about Stero. Stero is a story about this young boy who tries to navigate by having one principle in life. What would Bruce Lee do? And it was a really interesting film, I would say that. And I think it was the lightest, but as well still as heavy. Because once there was a Q&A session afterwards, and the director Tevin Kemathi, who hopefully we'll have very soon on the pod, to talk about Stero as a film and the process that they went through making the film. He explained it very differently from what we saw, and I was like, damn, filmmakers are deep people. Mko are deep. Mko na issues. And I mean that in the best way. People who've gone through so many things are the ones with good stories. The older you get, the more stories you have. Juu mtoto wa 12 years ananipea stories gani? Sisemi hana story, but if you give me a 12-year-old boy and a 40-year-old man, the 40-year-old is gonna have more stories, unless he's a very boring man. Then, ka una story pia wewe, unakuanga boring. Anyway, I digress again. But Stero was very interesting in terms, oh yes, and again, I forgot to mention Mr. Black Pepper, Lucarelli Onyango. That's his Instagram name in case you want to go and look for him. Mr. Black Pepper, Lucarelli Onyango, was Bruce Lee. And it was very interesting to see the synergy between him and the child. And he was also asked this question: how were you able to attain that synergy? Because they're supposed to act as friends. I don't know Luca's age, I know he has a child, a daughter. I hope I'm allowed to say that. He said it himself. And so you can imagine this is a father and a child, and they're supposed to act like best friends. Do you know how hard it is to act as best friends with your parents? First of all, if unaendanga nje unasema, oh, my mom is my best friend. Is your mom really a, what is it called? Gen X? Baby boomers? I think so, baby boomers. I'm not saying there's any, my mom, I'm very close with my mom, I would say, and this has come after, certainly after campus. I won't lie, certainly after campus. That's when our relationship, we become like this. But it's very hard to get that synergy because we are from different times, number one. Two, you're different people. And three, your parent will always be your parent. They will always remember that they're your parent first. So how the aspects of friendship. So it was very interesting to see how these two are able to act like besties. Like, what would Bruce Lee do? And my favorite line from that film was, "Not today, devil." I think something like that. It was very interesting. So I would say Stero is those films that you go to watch, and in the end you get amazed by how much it reminds you of your past. Because literally in the story, it's about, do you guys remember the Muntu? Now don't judge me for my age. Si tulikuwa tunaita Muntu, where if you spoke in Swahili or mother tongue, you were given something to wear. For us, it would be just a box or sometimes a sack, but never a bone. So in Stero, it was a bone. And first of all, that thing smells so bad. So you definitely don't want to be wearing that. And then maybe you have like a crash there. Imagine anakuwa ukitembea na hiyo kitu. So it was like really a reminder of the past. But once we get to talk to the director, you'll definitely understand how deeper the film is and how it explains us, not just as a creative, but literally anyone. Okay, I'll move on to the next film. I would say, Stero, you can stew in with those thoughts. We'll come back to it in another episode. We have Ziwa. Oh my god, I loved Ziwa. I loved Ziwa. Ziwa is the story of, it literally has three people. It has Pauline Chalo, Chris Kamau, and Lydia Gitacho. So in the story, Chris Kamau, what was his name in the film? I can't remember his name. Let's just call him husband. I watched this a long time ago, guys. Let's call him husband. So husband is sick. He's almost dying. Every time we see him or hear him, ushasikia mtu akikohoa tu like aki ya Mungu anaenda. So every time this person was coughing and tuko tu like, si anaenda. So clearly from the beginning of the story, I was like, maybe this is a story about how a man dies and leaves the wife behind. It was not. I was very surprised when Pauline Charlo, aka the side chick, pulls up. Knock, knock. Ati, hi, is your husband in? Yes, but he's not allowed to see visitors. You imagine if you're sick and you're coughing, of course you don't want people to come into your house. Either, first of all, if you're sick, means your immunity is low. You could get something from somebody coming from outside. Or two, like caring for other people. Unaweza transfer whatever disease this person has to other people. Side chick alikuwa anaitwa Shiko. Shiko akaingia, akaenda akatafuta mtu wake. I was just like, nobody has ever made a film, first of all, about such things, about a side chick having the audacity, because that's what it is, the audacity of coming to your mbabas, let's just call him that, because clearly the man was old and the girl was young in the story. And the wife is just like, so calm, so chill, akaingia tu, akamfungulia, akampikia chai, na akamtengenezea pale pa kulala. I am not a saint. I would not do that. I was just like, this is such an interesting story. Umempikia chai. Mi ningekuwa nishakurusha nje. What are you doing in my man's house? Anyway, I'm just a woman, and most of us sometimes are jealous. Which is human nature, I guess. I don't know. But me, I know I'm like that. I'm very territorial. So I was just like, this is really interesting. So the husband was sick, and Shiko was the nurse in hospital. And there was this watch that the husband had, and he gave it to the side chick, to Shiko. And I remember also asking this, still at Out of Africa Film Festival, because Baba and Ziwa both premiered, and I asked one of the producers, Was there a reason why he gave this girl a watch? Because for me, how I interpreted it is this girl had her time with this man. And afterwards, the next day after she slept over, she had come with some meds, hoping that the meds would heal the man. But it was literally, the man was just a gone case. Akazindikisha, so the wife akazindikisha the side chick na akampea, oh, amembebea hadi hand. Na mkatu film got to like, in what world? Amembebea handbag. And I think, of course, that was the intention of the filmmaker, because even the side chick Shiko was very shocked at how calm the wife was. And the wife told her, we're not going to fight over somebody who clearly time yake imeisha. This man is dying. You've had your time, I've had mine. And in the end, of course, the side chick Shiko is gone, and in the evening we see the wife has plated some food and it's just her and the husband. A very interesting setting. So the man is seated on, let's say, the right side, and the wife is seated on the left side, and there's a seat. You know how a table is, right? So this side, and then up on belly, there's an extra seat. So she realizes the husband is not eating and moves over to that other seat. And when she's there, she continues eating, and the husband touches her hand. Again, what that symbolized is that there was like a reconnection for both of them. Yes, he had had time, but it was sort of a redemption for their relationship or for their marriage. I really thought it was interesting. First of all, have you ever tried, if your parents have had an argument when you're there, try correcting them something about their marriage, you as a child. Jaribu tu uone, alafu tuitie mchele, juu hautakuwa. Parents are very, marriage are not things that we talk about, especially if it's the parents. So it's like, okay, this is very interesting. Not many people make such films about marriages, and even if we do, not from that perspective. And how do I put it? The performance by Lydia. Oh my God. Nilikuwa tu like, you are so calm. And Lydia said it herself. She's used to getting roles where she's very chatty and hyper. And this one, she was doing like very simple, feminine, smooth things, like picking up flowers and, being quiet, that somebody who was with your husband for years has come over to your home and you have to offer them tea and a place to sleep and food for the evening, crazy stuff. But then again, go watch it. You might be more impressed than I was. Then we have Mawimbi. Just like the name suggests, this, first of all, there was a lot of waves in this film. And by waves, yes, I mean like water waves. This film was shot in the ocean. First of all, just shooting a film on like stable land is already like, you have to figure out so many things. So I was like, damn, these filmmakers are really good. Shooting a film in water, like there are waves going up. How do you set up the tripod, camera, lights? I mean, there are no lights because it was literally during daylight, but I'm just thinking cameras and reflectors, all of those aspects of making a film. I was like, that is crazy. And I would say the picture was really good. Now, I'll be very honest. I feel like they could have done better with the story. So let me just give you a recap of what the story is about. Mawimbi is about a young man who comes back home with his dead mother. He's come for his mother's burial, and clearly we can tell the relationship between him and the dad is not okay. And one day they go fishing together and they're stuck there. And I would say that is where I thought most of the flesh of the story was. So I was a bit, I would give it, now I know I've not rated other films, but just to explain how the story was for me, out of a 5, I'd give it a 3. And the 2 mostly is because they were not able to fully like get the climax correctly. They had very many chances of finishing the story on with a bang, but they were not able to. So I'll move on to the next film, which is the final one, which again, I still feel iffy about it. Inheritance starred Pauline Chalo, Nungo Marianne. Then we have Mukami Njero. So Mukami and Pauline are outcasts. Pauline is an outcast because I think the grandfather didn't like her. And then Mukami was dressed as a man. And I was like, this is really interesting. If they wanted to, they would have just gotten a man to play that role, yeah? But later on, after watching it 2 times, I was like, that explains it. Because literally Mukami was a representation also of an outcast in the community. Because why are you a woman and you look like a man? Ndevu, if you go watch the film, you'll understand. But you could see, I see why they picked you. But I felt like the story was so, I'm looking for a good word to use. Not to be nice, like to actually be honest. You could tell the film was made for a festival. It was not made for an audience to enjoy the film. It was made for a film jury to sit down and be like, whoa, or let me just say, it was made for filmmakers and not for a non-film audience or somebody who does not have the knowledge about making films. Because I was like, it's too deep. But then again, knowing the director and having interacted with some of her past works, or just hearing how she speaks and how she explained it, I think it's her style. Every filmmaker has their own style. There are those filmmakers who make their films for filmmakers, and there are those filmmakers who make their films for their audiences. So I think that was her audience, her target audience, and it worked out for her. But if it was for the audience to enjoy, I am certain a large percentage, myself included, did not enjoy the film as an audience, but rather I felt like watching it again with a pen and paper, writing things down and like literally dissecting it and learning it. Of course, I'm a filmmaker, so I would enjoy that. But thinking as an audience, would people really enjoy watching such a? It was too deep. It was too heavy. That's what I think about Beneath the Tides, and I find it very interesting, just making 5 films. If you're not able to make a feature film, you can make 5 films, short films, 3, 2, and make it an anthology. So literally, I think if you want to watch short films which are engaging, because right now, most of us we consume a lot of short form content. And I would think as a filmmaker, if you want to take advantage of that, make 5 films and you can do a premiere and then have all of them, or 3, like I said, or 2. But Beneath the Tides is a genius idea. All the films are so good in their own way. None of them is similar to the other. They all have very different themes. They explore different themes. And the actors, again, like I mentioned, children actors, very interesting. You should definitely go watch it. Until next time, that's all for this week. So remember, you can follow the podcast on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on TikTok, on Instagram. Please subscribe, share with your family and friends. And if you're a filmmaker, remember you can reach out to us at talkfilmtm@gmail.com to talk about anything film related. See you next week, same time, same place. Bye.